everyone, this is Sally with Stitch Along with Sally. I am here as part of a new monthly series on the first episode of What's in My WIP Basket. So this is my WIP basket. As I mentioned in my last video, I've been part of this industry for a while, particularly needlepoint industry. So I actually have a number of canvases that I've gotten with discounts, my friends have given to me. And so when I look at my needlepoint stash, I like to switch around what's in this basket each month. And these are the things that I really want to focus on and make sure I actually work on. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first things first, we need to pull out what we were done with after November. And then we can talk about what we want to switch out for December. So in my basket here, I did finish, and you saw in my last video, and I already turned it in, so I can't pull it out of the basket. But I did finish Georgie's needlepoint collar. Georgie's my dog. And so I finished her collar, and I've turned that in already. So let me actually take out, this is my notions bag that just lives there. And then I didn't actually have any other finishes from the WIP basket. So we do have some things that are gonna go back in the WIP basket at the end of the video. But this is something that we're going to actually put back in the WIP basket. This is a Lauren Block canvas. She does some wonderful canvases of different needlepoint shops. This is one of my local needlepoint shops, Sign of the Arrow. I really love this canvas. I'm actually pretty close to being done with it. I just have a few small details left. I have to stitch like the Sign of the Arrow part and all of those things, but I'm pretty close to being done, so I'm hopeful I'm gonna finish this in the month of December. So keep your fingers crossed. I also have a number of Sign of the Arrow exclusive canvases, so I think pretty regularly for the next few months, you're probably gonna see at least one of them in here, because I really would like to get them finished and onto my needlepoint tree for next Christmas. So that's coming out. And then I do always put a knitting project in my WIP basket. So this is my knitting project. That just helps me whenever I want to shake things up. I've been knitting for a really long time. I first learned to needlepoint and I first learned to knit around the same time. So I first learned both of those somewhere between the ages of like 10 and 15. So I love both of them. They just kind of they fill my cup in different ways is how I would say that. So I'm currently working on the Rad Plaid Cowl from Drea Renee Knits. I love this pattern. It's very tangly. So it involves 3 colors of thread. It's really beautiful. I love all 3 colors I've chosen. I just get sometimes consumed by the tangly part of it, and I don't always actually work on it. So I'm hopeful I'm gonna make some progress on this because the colors I've chosen, not my waist yarn, that bright color is my corals, my waist yarn, but the actual colors I've chosen for this I think are really, really pretty. I really want to actually wear this item. That's one thing I love about knitting, is that you get to wear the outcomes all the time. Sorry, that was my dog Georgie. Oh, here she is. Hello. We sit in her chair during filming, so that's why she's always in these videos, is because she's like, ma'am, get out of my space. You don't pay rent, so that's why, like, you pay 0 of our bills. So this is technically my chair. Yeah, we're not doing this. Thank you. You can sit down now. You can sit down. All right. So that's the Drea Renee Knits Rad Plaid Cowl. This is Georgie's a big feature on my Instagram, so I'm sure she just wants to say hello to everyone. But yeah, this is the Rad Plaid Cowl from Drea Renee Knits. I do love this pattern, and I'm hopeful to make some more progress on it in December. I actually made a lot of progress on it so far, so I'm thinking I can maybe, fingers crossed, finish it by the end of the month, and then have something new in the WIP basket for next year. So that's my current knitting project. So I always have a knitting project, a kind of small ornament size project, a bag project, which is what Georgie's needlepoint collar was. That was kind of a project I could easily just throw in my bag, pick up whenever, do whatever I needed to do. If I wanted to go to a doctor's appointment or just was gonna go hang out with friends, I could easily bring that project along. So my stand project is kind of the final project I keep around in my WIP basket, and stand projects actually don't really fit in the basket, if you can't tell. I do have a system for floor stand and a system for lap stand. I like to keep my floor stand set up, ready to go, and so I will keep my stand project on the stand. I actually am obsessed with this project here. This is a Susan Roberts two-sided Santa. I believe he's the Arctic Santa. I think these are darling. I love these. I love the stitches I come up with this. I feel like this magical mad scientist of stitchery whenever I work on this. The thing is, another thing I like to do with my WIP basket is sometimes I have WIPs that go to a place called WIP Purgatory, which is where I still want to work on it. I still want to finish it, but something is holding me back from actually doing that. And so each month, in addition to working on these projects, I like to pull something out of WIP Purgatory. And so last month, that was my bag project. That was Georgie's needlepoint collar. That was in WIP Purgatory for a while because of the fact that I originally bought it when she was a puppy, and I measured her when she was like 6 months old. And then she actually grew a little bit. So I put it into WIP Purgatory because I wanted to make sure it fit. And then I finally pulled it out this year. So I am going to take my stand project that I am actually having a ton of fun on, but I want to pull out another stand project from WIP Purgatory and get that going a little bit more. So I'm going to put this one away. I'm going to be brave and put this one away because I do like it. It's just sometimes now when I'm pulling it out, I'm like, oh, I should pull out one of those bigger projects from WIP Purgatory. So that's what I'm going to do this month. This one's going to go back into the WIP drawer, and then I will pull out a larger project from WIP Purgatory. So that's all that I put in my basket. One bag project, one small ornament project, one stand project, and a knitting project. So let's see what we're going to do with all of this and maybe what we should put in for December. Okay. So for December, a few things. So I already said I want to put back in my, where'd it go? Oh, here's my Sign of the Arrow Lauren Block canvas. That is going to go back in. I'm making really good progress on it. I should be done by the end of the year here and moving on to another Sign of the Arrow exclusive. I have their annual ornaments. They do annual Christmas ornaments. They're really charming. They're very classic, and I have quite a few of them waiting. So I think a lot of those are going to be my ornament size projects. So we will put an ornament project back in there. Then I am going to keep the Drea Renee Knits cowl also in here for my knitting project. It is a little bulky, so it does take up a lot of room in the WIP basket. And then for my bag project, which I've already started working on, because literally the second I turned in Georgie's dog collar, I was like, let me pull out my next bag project. I am currently working on the Chrissy Johnson Designs Good Luck Key Fob. This has been in my stash, and I could not figure out the right background color. And this is actually one of my superpowers. If you ever take me thrifting, is I'm really good at like identifying anonymous thread from various like sewing baskets. So I can tell you this is a 100% strandable wool. It's a beautiful pink. It's my favorite kind of pink. So I'm really happy with this. I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to keep working on that and carry this around with me for the month of December. And then yeah, you can see based on the size of the bag it is in, then this is a really good size for just bringing in my tote whenever I go anywhere. Just carry it around. I carry this in my work bag a lot in case we're doing some webinars or anything like that. It really helps me focus to stitch. And I did talk to my, so every once in a while someone's like, oh, well, how did you get to like stitch at work? I just talked to my team and said like, hey guys, this is my needlepoint. This really helps me focus. I swear I'm focusing. I know it can be distracting, so if it is distracting, I'll find another way to focus, but just let me know. I never want my ability to focus to come at the expense of someone else's ability to focus. And actually my team really loves it and they're very supportive. So this actually is probably gonna go into the WIP basket, and then shortly here on Monday, because I typically film on Fridays, but on Monday it will go back into my work bag for the week. So that is going to be my bag project. Okay, and then what I am going to pull out of WIP Purgatory here for my stand project is this guy. I don't know which orientation. I think it goes this way. This is a really fun project. It's quite a big one here. It's a 16 by 16, I think, canvas. So this is from KCN. Every year, I don't know how long they've been doing it, but I love them. I think they're really pretty. They do these yearly challenge projects. This was actually 2021's yearly challenge. It was 21 new stitches to learn in 2021. Here's a little stitch guide here that I need to keep in my WIP basket so I don't lose it. This got banished to WIP Purgatory, not because I don't love it. I do love it. Actually, that's the story of 100% of the pieces in WIP Purgatory. I love them. I want to finish them. I want to work on them. Something else is stopping me. What stopped me with this project is this is a charted project. So there's no paint on this canvas. They give you the charts in the stitch guide so that you can just go through and learn all of these 21 beautiful decorative stitches. At some point I was like, something's off with this, let me figure it out. And you know what I figured out and then promptly banished this to WIP Purgatory for? I can't count. So a couple of these squares are off, and because I tended when I was working on this project to go, oh, so this square next to this square, it just needs to be the same size. So once like one square got off, whole like rows and columns got slightly off. So I banished it to WIP Purgatory because I was mad at it. And I've come to the terms with the fact that I should be mad at myself. Because what I probably could have done and what I will do is I'm gonna rip this all out. It's beautiful thread. They also gave me the thread colors in the stitch guide. So I've already rebought a lot of these threads because the dye lots are long gone. And actually I ended up using 2 of these threads. So I use this dark pink and the medium kind of light pink. I use that in another project that's already up on my Instagram. It's the What a Gem coaster set. So I'll pop a picture up here somewhere. You don't need anything, ma'am. I'll pop a picture up here somewhere of the coasters, but I used the 2 pinks on the olive coaster and I really loved them there. And what I really want to do with this is I want to finish it into an acrylic tray to go in my living room, which will also be where the coasters are stored. So that's why I kind of kept the colors the same. And then I rebought some of these threads. I think I rebought the dark pink, the medium pinks, all of this stuff. So what I'm going to do is before I start this project again, and I'm going to first rip it all out, and then I'm gonna mark the squares this time. Particularly, I think where I started getting off was the squares in the center, because if you look at the design, there is a flower in the center of the canvas, and I miscounted around this flower. So I'm actually gonna go back when I rip it all out and mark up where each square begins and ends. And so that way I know like, oh, this square is this size, this square is this size. And then when I get into the flower in the center and I start to have to compensate more, I won't make any more mistakes. And then it will be finished and it will remove itself from WIP Purgatory. So it doesn't fit, it fits perfectly on my stand. It doesn't fit in the WIP basket, but with my stand projects in my WIP basket, what I do is I just put all the stuff that needs to go with it. So in this case, that's the stitch guide, and then I have some threads that will go with it as well. So all of those items will go in my WIP basket for the month, and that way when I'm ready to pull out my stand and work on it, my stand actually usually sits next to my globe in a different room. So I'll go put this on the stand. If you are worried about a project getting dusty or something just sitting on a stand, you can always cover them with an old pillowcase or something like that. You don't need to get like a fancy project cover. I'm gonna go put this up on my stand for the month. But yeah, that is everything. We'll put it lid back on. But so this is my WIP basket for the month. It's pretty hefty, pretty full. The capital mushroom doesn't fit anymore, which is always a good sign. But we'll go put this where it belongs, back at my home office here, and then I'll get my project up on my stand and we'll be ready for a new month of stitching. So happy December. I hope you all are staying cozy and warm wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.